Patty Carlson. Playing the piano has been one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. What pleases me even more is having the opportunity to share that experience with you. Now that you realize how easy it is to play the piano, I have a few new tricks I'd like to show you, so you can have even more fun. Let's go. In the first lesson, you learned the terms of the theory of the seven and the basic principles of improvisation. In the first lesson, the white key to the left of the group of two black keys was equal to 1. In this lesson, I'd like to teach you how to use the black keys. So for this particular exercise, the black key to the left of the group of 3 black keys is going to be equal to 1. Now, in the first lesson, we learned the New Age stretch, which was stretching my thumb and my pinky a full octave, and the index finger will fall here. When we start playing in the black keys, you can use any black key that you want to, and they'll all work together fine. However, there is only one white key that I would like you to use during this exercise, and that white key is found on the right-hand side of the group of 3. Anywhere you see a group of 3 black keys, the white key to the right-hand side of it may be played. So in the first lesson, we had the New Age stretch, and we had a finger pattern after the New Age stretch. Now, I particularly designed that so that you would experience what it's like to play a finger pattern, which included crossing your fingers over. When we start this exercise, you have to play the New Age stretch first. But when you go to cross over, you can play any one of the black notes that were given to you, or you can play the white note that was allowed in this group. Now, when I cross over, my movement has always been from the left to the right. But another path that I could choose would be to cross over, skip a few, and start to move back towards where I began. I'm beginning my passage on the left side of the 3 black keys, and I'm going to finish with that particular tone to resolve the piece of music. But once I start playing, I can begin with the 1 tone, and then I will change the note that I begin on in the bass hand. I can use any of the black tones that I want to, or the white tone. And I suggest that you use the white tone a lot, especially with your left hand. See how I'm using it with my little finger and my thumb? But my middle fingers still have to play the black tones because those are the only elements that are allowed to be used at this point in time. The same principles of improvisation apply to the left hand as apply to the right hand. I want to play the New Age stretch, and when I cross over, I want to change the patterns that I play. The fingering also is the same for the left hand. When I want to move from the left side of the piano to the right side of the piano, I will cross over my thumb with my middle finger. When I want to move in the other direction, I'll take my thumb and move it under the middle finger, so that you realize that the principle of fingering is only to be able to move from whatever point you start to the point that you want to finish, and not twist your tendons, not twist your hand so that you hurt yourself. so that you make it really easy to play for long periods of time, and you don't stress your hand. And this is what you should practice, is the movement of your left hand, using these elements and creating different passages each time. So you'll begin with one and move to several of the different tones that you're allowed, like this. Here's the white tone. And remember to go back to the one tone, because the one tone is a very secure place to be. It will always resolve whatever you've created. A fancy ending for a piece of music is to use the one tone with full octave, your thumb and your pinky, or you can move it to a heavier bass tone. An even more fancy way to be able to end a piece of music is to put the one tone with your left hand, the lower bass sound, and also take your right hand and move it higher up on the piano and play the right hand, the full octave, the two tones, at the same time that you play the left hand, the full octave. So anytime you hear somebody resolve a piece of music emphatically, it's Now I'd like to move on to the next part of the lesson. The right hand in this exercise still has the same rules for improvisation, except that the elements that the right hand may use have changed. We have all of the black tones, and we have the white tone on the right-hand side of the group of three that can be used. When I move through these tones, I can play them consecutively, and if I want to play chords, instead of having them structured every other note as we did in the beginning, you can play any group of black notes that you want together at the same time. And whatever combination that you come up with will always go together with whatever combination that you have with your left hand, as long as both hands are restricted to the same elements. Here's an example. Here's a more unusual way to use these elements. Moving the left hand from that New Age stretch and crossover pattern, I'll move it to using only one of the elements at a time, like this. Now those particular notes happen to please me, so I'm going to stay there for a little while. I'll alternate between using this tone and this tone in my left hand, and I'll continually change the patterns that I use with my right hand. If you notice, I'm using that white tone a lot. I can take this principle and move it higher on the piano. The feeling comes from taking my time, moving from one element to the other. Watch. Then I'll take one section and move back to another pattern within the same element. The bass tone, new age stretch, and altering the patterns. Now that was a neat trick. I'll take my index finger and my middle finger, and I'll play them right next to each other. And then I'll stretch my pinky and my thumb out to the sides. Let's try it here. Two together, stretching out on the outside. Here, here, here. Now, I particularly like that one the best, just from trial and error. So how do I find that? My index finger is on the one tone of these group of elements. My middle finger is right next to it. My thumb and my pinky stretched to the outside. Slowly. And then quickly. Or the other direction. And if you really want to get fancy, take it from one side, cross your middle finger over. So what you're really doing is restricting your movement to three tones. These two and this tone. See, this tone and this tone are the same, so you're really only using three tones. How would I find the three tones that I'm using? These two are on the left side of the group of three. And this one is on the left side of the group of two. So when I'm moving, the two notes that I'm not using are on the right side of each of the groups, this one and this one. I like that sound so much with the right hand that this time I'm going to keep that sound and I'm going to move the bass tones. So I'll hold the right hand sound and cross the bass tones while it stays there, like this. Stay in any one place for too long of a time, so I'll just walk right out of it. playing, moving into a section and then just holding it there for a little bit gives it wonderful coloration and wonderful feeling. And a dramatic ending. Push the pause button on the tape machine and practice for a little while. In the first lesson, we had the white key to the left of the two black keys, C, equaling 1. And from this point on, we learned the 7 tones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and back to 1. It's important to be able to move to another key to understand how the relationship of these tones works together to determine which tones were the 7 elements that you're allowed to use. So let's take a look at it. Each wooden piece strikes a string inside of the box. And this wooden piece strikes this string, the very next wooden piece strikes the very next string inside the box, and so on. When I'm playing in this key, I started with this as the 1 tone. To get to the 2 tone, I had to skip a string. The traditional term for this is moving a whole step. If I move from one string directly to the next string, I'm moving a half a step. So the original blueprint of the 7 you can see in all the white keys in the key of C. If you forget how to find the 7 tones and how to find the relationship of the strings to the 7 tones, go back to the key of C and you know that all the tones are white. To find the relationship, the distance from the 1 tone to the 2 tone was a whole step. From 1, I skipped a string, and this was 2. From 2 to 3, I moved a whole step because I skipped a string. So from 1 to 2 was a whole step, 2 to 3 was a whole step. Between 3 and 4, I didn't skip any strings, so that was a half a step. Between 4 and 5, I skipped a string. 5 and 6, I skipped a string. 6 and 7, I skipped a string. 7 and 1, I didn't skip any, so I moved a half a step. So what you need to remember is that between 3 and 4, you move 1 string. And between 7 and 1, you move 1 string. All of the other numbers move 2 strings. 3 and 4. It's really important to understand that moving 1 string or a whole tone, moving 2 strings, does not indicate black or white. It simply means to move 1 string, even if it's from here to here. That's the movement of 1 string. That is not a whole step. A half step is moving from 1 string to the other. All right? So now what I'm going to do is take this blueprint and we're going to move into a new key so that you learn how to find the 7 elements that are in each and every key. To begin with, we're going to move to the key of G. C, D, E, F, G. G is now equal to 1, and that's all the term being in the key of means. It means that the name of that key is equal to 1. So if we're in the key of G, G is 1. Now how do I get between 1 and 2? How do I find 1 and 2? I move from G to a whole step. I have to skip 1 string. So this is 1. This is 2. I have to move a whole step to 3. Now between 3 and 4, I only move 1 string. Right now, that's to another white key. But only for this instance is this going to be a white key. And moving 1 string, like I said, does not mean black or white. It just means to move 1 string. So we have 1, 2, 3. 3 and 4, I have to have a half step, so I can only move one string. So that's 4. And I'll hold them down to make sure that I know which ones they are. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I want to move to 5, so I have to move 2 strings. There's 5. 5 to 6, there's 6. 6 to 7 moves a whole step. 6 to 7 has to move 2 strings. And 7 back to 1 moves 1 string. Now this makes sense because 1 and 7 are always directly next to each other. It does not mean black or white. It only means that they are the 2 strings that are directly next to each other. Now when I look at these 7 tones, these are the group of 7 that I'm allowed to play. These are the group of 7 contained in the master scale. How am I going to remember this? Well, the only black key that I'm playing is to the left of the group of 3. Do you see that? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is 7. And this was 1 again. Another way I can look at it is this is the white note that would have been if it was the key of C. And I can't play this white because it's not included in the group. I have to play this tone black. So I can't play this white one, and the only black one I can play is this one. Now let's go to applying the theories that we've learned in all the other lessons to this particular key. In the same way as the first key we learned, every other white note is going to equal a chord. This is 1, every other white note. That now becomes the 1 chord. Key of G, every other white note, 1 chord. The 2 chord is from 2, every other white note. The 3 chord from here, every other white note. But, wait a minute, this key isn't allowed. This key has to be played black. So, that becomes the 3 chord. See, it would have been every other white note except that this key is played black. Then you have the 4 chord, the 5 chord. This is the 5 chord, but this tone is played black. The 6 chord, the 7 chord, but this tone is played black. And again, the 1 chord. Now, let's apply some of the theory that we have. We can use any of the movements that we've learned, but we must restrict the movement to the 7 elements that we're allowed. So I'm going to start playing passages of music. The only black key I'm going to play will be to the left of the group of 3, and I will not play this white key. First lesson, we moved the left hand and the right hand together with chords. We moved to the 5 chord, 1, 7, 6, 5. Then from the 5 chord to the 4 chord, 4, 5. 1, 5, 4. Here's the 1 chord. This is the 5 chord, so I move to 5. Every other white note, but this note is played black. Then to 4. And the exact same passages between 1, 5, and 4 will give you a very similar sound as in the other key. Playing 1 in the left hand in the bass, 5 in the right hand. 4 in the right hand. 5 in the right hand. Emphatic ending, 1 in the left hand, full bass, 1 in the right hand, full octave. So now you can take any of the progressions that I've taught you. You can take any of the patterns and you can move them into different keys. First, you determine the 7 elements that you're allowed to use. Then you learn to recognize which keys are played black. Then you restrict your movement to using just those 7 elements. And you create music moving from one pattern to the next pattern to the next pattern. Now I'd like to introduce you to a style of music that we haven't covered so far. It's called the blues. We're going to move back into the key of C. The left-hand pattern is going to move a little bit differently. We'll start with the 1 chord. We'll play the first tone, and then we'll play the middle tone of the chord. From this point on, we're going to play every single string without skipping any. I'll play 4 beats, and then I'll use the last string, which is the last tone of the chord, to bounce back to the first beat. Listen. 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, I'm going to take this pattern, and I'm going to use this pattern on the 1 tone, I'm going to use the pattern on the 4 tone, and on the 5 tone. So from the 1 tone, I'm going to move to the 4. The pattern was to go to the middle of the chord, and then to play every single tone after it without skipping any strings. And then I'll move to the 5. Here's the middle tone of the chord. Back to the 4. And again the 1. Now what am I going to add with the right hand while this left hand is doing this? In the style of music called the blues, a certain tone of the 7 gives the blues a flavor. And the tone that they're using is called the flat 7. So we have the 1 chord. 1 and 7 are directly next to each other. To flat a string means to take the key that it's on and lower it 1 string. So if you think about flat, you can think of a flat tire. It's going down. You want to lower it 1 string. So here's the 1 chord. 1 and 7 are directly next to each other. There's 7, and this is the tone that I want to add to the 1 chord so that I have the blues. Let's try the 1 chord with the flat 7 and this bass pattern. Now just hold that chord. Now we want to move to the 4 chord. How do I find the flat 7 that's in relationship to the 4 chord? If I'm in the 4 chord, this would not be the flat 7 because this flat 7 was in relationship to the 1 chord. So I have to add the flat 7 and I have to add the string with the flat 7 in relationship to the chord that I'm using. I'll move to the 4 chord. The flat 7 is 2 strings lower. So the 7 is always directly next to the chord, and to flat it, I lower it 1 key. And if you listen, it has almost the same sound. Now, I want to move to the 5 chord. To find the flat 7, I have to move 2 strings lower from the chord. So this is a prime example to show you that moving 2 strings does not mean black or white. It simply means 2 strings. So there's the key I want to add. Show you a more comfortable position to play this chord in. This chord stretches my tendons and I'm really not particularly comfortable playing it in this position. So to change the position, I have to be certain that I don't change the elements, but I only move them. So these are the 3 tones that were given in the original chord. I'm going to take this tone and I'm going to move it to here. And then I'm going to add that flat 7. This is much more comfortable for me. When I want to start to improvise, I'll restrict my movement to these keys. When I played the 1 chord without that flat 7 tone, it didn't have the blues feeling to it. When I added that flat 7, that tone gave it the feeling. So I want to really use that tone when I'm improvising because that will emphasize that particular feeling. Watch. I'm going to move to the 4 chord. Again, I was not comfortable with this particular fingering of this chord. So I'm going to take this note of the chord and move it to here. And I become really comfortable with this. Now I'm going to move to the 5 chord. The same thing applies. I'm not real comfortable with this. So I'm going to take this note and move it here. Now I see something in common with the relationship of the way I'm playing this chord in each section. If I play the chord here, my middle finger is on the name of the chord. My middle finger is on the 1, and this is the finger position for that chord. When I move to the 4, my middle finger moves to the 4, and this becomes the position for the chord. When I move to the 5, my middle finger moves to the 5, and this becomes the position for the chord. This way, to move from chord to chord to chord requires very little change in the way I'm holding my right hand. middle finger to 4, middle finger to 1. So let's try it slowly. If you want to get a little fancy moving in your improvisation, you may slide off of any of the other black keys. Don't land on them, don't emphasize them, but slide off of them like this. Emphasize the flat 7. You can also practice taking the chord and moving it from one end of the piano to the other. Let's try that. Here's the 1 chord with the flat 7. Push the pause button on the tape machine and practice. Now I'm going to take that chord and I want to move it from one end of the piano to the other. Here's the chord I'm using. So I have to recognize what the elements are and restrict my movement to those elements. But if I want to, I can also slide off of another black key when I'm hitting that element. Try that again really slow. Now watch. When you start to put this together, I don't want you to get discouraged because your right hand will not do anything when your left hand is moving. So first start with the chord. Hold the chord down and learn that left hand so you can play that left hand almost blindly. And then start moving the elements of the chord right where you have them, right here, before you try to walk, okay? When you start trying to walk, take your left hand out of the picture and get your right hand accustomed to moving through those elements without using any of the other keys. And practice moving up and down within the passage. You could start high, but you don't want to move in perfect order all the time. So when you get halfway through, start taking some time to move in between them while you're there. Watch. when you're moving this chord from one end to the other, take your time to stop in between and keep the rhythm going, but don't just move the chord in perfect order. Change your order. Now, I don't want you to get discouraged because your right hand and your left hand will not work quickly together. And so what you hear, you can't do right away. It takes time to develop your coordination. Start slowly with the chord in the right hand and left hand playing the bass. Be able to move to the next chord exactly on the beat. Then start moving the elements of the chord right in the same position without moving from one end of the piano to the other. Practice your right hand separately from the left hand, moving the one chord in every direction you can think of, then the 4, then the 5, so your right hand becomes very familiar with being able to do that. Then slowly learn to put the two together. The blues can be played really slow and be really great. If you master it slowly, you'll be able to play it at any speed you want. Show you expanded usage of this. I'm going to be able to use a lot of the keys, and in a further lesson, I'll show you what I'm doing. Now that rare gift of music belongs to you. Enjoy it.